Hello and welcome to warrenthornton.com over on Patreon. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to warrenthornton.com. Sorry about the slightly dodgy lighting. We are in the middle of a power cut here, and of course, it is sort of 3 o'clock in the morning, so very much nothing is going to get done until tomorrow. So you're stuck with a fairly ghostly me, I'm afraid. We have got tons and tons to tell you about tonight. We're going to tell you about someone who's made a ton of money off of the bombing of the school in Iran, or the bombing of Iran, who's made a ton of money with prior knowledge of the strikes actually coming in. And we are going to give you firm evidence that shows that Israel, the United Kingdom, and the US were behind the strikes on the school, and that they were deliberate and on purpose. So let's get, without further ado, get into this. First of all, let's have a look at this. There we are. So that's the video of the young girls. Of course, the 168 girls. It's been now confirmed that this was indeed 168 girls that were killed. Here is part of the airstrikes that took place on that day. Ooh. Now, this is in a place, as you know, called Minab. We're going to play that one more time. Ooh. Now, this is part, as I say, of the airstrikes that took place. And of course, you can see smoke there beforehand. Now, that was part of the general strikes that took place. And they took place, as I say, on purpose. And we have absolute proof that that is the case. There are many, many people who are out there who are saying, including the American president, saying, we believe it was Iran. It was not Iran. It was America that did it. Here is a still of that picture. This is striking right by the base, and this is a Tomahawk missile that is flying through the air there. And that is about to strike a building just by the school. Now, why is it significant that we show? First of all, it's a Tomahawk, and people are saying, oh, well, it looks like it's going to be. That proves quite clearly the Iranians do not have Tomahawks. So the nonsense that is coming out from those people, they are talking out of their backsides. Now, let's give you the next heads up here. This is a football pitch. It is roughly anywhere between 100 and 130 yards long. The school was 600 yards away from the IRGC Naval Academy. So if you take 5 football pitches and lay them end to end, this is how far away that missile, or those missiles that flattened the school, struck. Okay, so just imagine getting another 4 football pitches and tagging them on the end, not widthways, lengthways, and that is the distance the school is away from where those strikes actually hammered into. And of course, we know that Israel did the targeting for this, and the whole idea was to do it on purpose. And the idea was to kill as many of the IRGC children in that school. Now, we know now that that school was full of children from the IRGC. Okay. And of course, the idea was to take them or take those people out of the game, as it were. If they can't get them to stand down, then of course, if they smash that area, then of course, they'll be able to literally turn around and say, look, we've managed to take those people out. And they were still hoping at this point that people were going to jump up and start doing all sorts of crazy things. Big up to Scotland, by the way. The National has gone with this headline. This is the human cost. And as I say, over 160 school children have been killed. Now, Israel did the targeting. We know that much. We've actually shown you the proof of that. But now we're going to get on to the proof, shall we say, from the flights that shall we say, took part. Get my words out in a second. But they took part. Great Britain took part in the targeting of these school children. And there's many people out there going, well, I don't believe it, and all the rest of it. We're going to show you and we're going to tell you exactly what happened and how it went about, what planes. And we have this literally from our guy who is right there. And of course, we can't name him, but he is very much in the know, and he very much has every, should we say, he's supplied us with everything that we need to know to do with these airstrikes. And of course, as I say, you're looking, what, 160 girls that were killed by these airstrikes. So let's just get this ready for you. So this was the Sharaj Trebe Girls Elementary School in Minab in the Hormozgan province in Iran, which, as I say, was 600 yards away from the naval airbase. Okay. There is absolutely no way that they got this wrong. There's no way that they could possibly have done this by mistake. Absolutely no chance whatsoever. So let's get into what exactly was flown over the airfields and what exactly happened here. So these flights were conducted from Akrotiri Air Base in Cyprus, or the RAF Akrotiri Base, which of course is sovereign territory for the UK, as you would know, and many people do know. We have a picture of that. We'll just try and get it up for you. Many of these flights have already taken place. They were using Akrotiri Air Base to do this, to fly over various areas, to target people in the Yemen. And of course, they were doing that for many other places, of course. And we're going to show you everything to do with that. Now, we're going to show you an aerial picture of Akrotiri Air Base. Hopefully, you'll be able to see it. Sometimes you can't, and sometimes you have to log out and log back in to get back in to have a look at these pictures. But of course, they do try and block them. So here's Akrotiri Air Base. And this is the actual runway that they use, and the two planes that were involved in this on the day. Now, there were two strikes took place. There was one at 10:05. I'm going to just play you this little video here because, of course, that will give you a big idea of where we're going with this. Have a look at this. So there we are. So let's take you through. These flights were conducted from RAF Akrotiri in Cyprus using the Shadow R1 aircraft. Now, these are Shadow R1 are intelligence surveillance and target acquisition and reconnaissance. Okay, and its output is particularly valuable to ground commanders. These Shadow R1 flights have the call signs. These two flights have the call signs RFR 7144 and RFR 7145. Okay, so we are naming the planes that are used to do these targeting strikes. Now, I have this confirmed by somebody right there that one of these planes took off for a 52-minute flight. It took off at 9:47 and it didn't go back until the second strike had taken place. It's a 52-minute flight. Now, here's where we have a major problem with the targeting. Of course, the Israelis gave this to British intelligence. It was then transferred to Akatiri Air Base. All this nonsense you are hearing about US having boots on the ground, all a red herring. Very simply, these Tomahawks were fired from a naval vessel at the school. And of course, they can't be possibly 600 yards apart. These things are absolutely deadly accurate, and you cannot get this wrong. Now, they basically at 10:08, they carried out the first strike on the school, and you can see the cloud in the background, of course, from that group of first strikes. I'm going to show you that video once again. As you can see, there's already, and there we go. You can already see that the school has suffered a hit. This is from the group of first strikes, and this has been released by the TV station. Now, we can confirm that the second set of strikes, as I say, the first set of strikes took place at 10:08 a.m. and the second set of strikes took place at 10:45 a.m. Okay, we've even got the timing for you from our friends, should we say, in the Pentagon. We've got somebody very close to the Pentagon. So there we are. That absolutely shows, first of all, that those strikes can't possibly get them wrong, that they are Tomahawk missiles, that they are fired that way. And of course, Donald Trump is turning around and saying, oh, no, it didn't happen. We know that it was Iranian. So that straight away knocks that out of the park. It's all done. They're not Iranian missiles. We know they're not Iranian missiles. And we know that this lunatic knew about it.
Does this put U.S. personnel in any more danger than they otherwise would be?
Well,
the Russian involvement.
No one's putting us in danger. We're putting the other guys in danger. That's our job. So we're not concerned about that. We mitigate it as we need to. Our commanders factor all of this, but the only ones that need to be worried right now are Iranians that think they're going to live.
There we go. So very simply, Hegseth knew about it. He gave the green light, and that was then given to the commander of the aircraft carrier to fire. Louis Bastos.
Morning, Warren.
Good morning.
That guy was fired by Trump, no?
Say again, buddy.
Has Trump fired him?
No, he's not going to fire him. He's not going to fire him. He's his best mate. As far as they're concerned, it's Iranian missiles that did it.
Okay, so fake news. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly that. Hegseth has not been fired, just in case. And Andy?
How much do the pilots or the Navy people or whoever who are firing these things know of their targets?
They're given the target coordinate, Andy, and then they're told to fire on it.
So they don't know what they're hitting?
9 times out of 10, they don't. No, absolutely not.
Poor men and women.
Yeah. And there were teachers killed as well in that, but there were over 160. And I'm going to give you a heads up here. 35% of the total casualties so far in Iran have been children. 35% of the total casualties. They have hit up to now 4 schools, every single one of them. This is why I'm saying it's absolutely deliberate. IRGC naval base is 600 yards down the road. That is where all their children go. Now they have hit another 4 schools, every single one of them near either a military base or a naval base. So they are targeting the schools to kill the kids of the IRGC who attend there. Lee Williams.
I was going to say, obviously, it's definitely to do with Israel because they've done exactly the same as what they've done in Gaza.
They gave the GPS
And hospital.
coordinates for the firing.
Yeah.
Simple as
Yeah.
that. And while we're on the subject, by the way, it's now confirmed that 104 people that were on that ship were dead, 40 odd are rescued, and there's 20 odd still missing. And of course, it was completely unarmed. It was coming back from a goodwill tour in India, and of course, it was targeted from there. And of course, people are going completely potty about it. Robert,
you know the name, you know the number of the plane. Is it
Yes.
possible to find out the names of the crew?
yeah, wouldn't that be nice? No, I'm not going to get that. There's no way he'll give that to me in a million years, Robert. No way, not a chance.
Is it possible to identify the plane then?
Oh, it is possible to identify the plane, no problem at all. They've only got.
I think it would be in the public interest and the interest of justice if the number of that plane and its flight details was publicized.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I will try and find that out for you. But at the moment, obviously, I only know that. But as I say, we've passed it on to you, so hopefully that gives you an idea. But of course, he'll give me what he gives me. If I continue to push him, he might clam up altogether. But we will try. We will try.
It would do wonders for the sales of bottles of whiskey and small pistols.
Yeah, wouldn't it just? There are a lot of people, should we say, that are quite, shall we say, upset about this. This is not the first time the US have done this. They've been known for doing this, and it's not the first time that they've done it. Of course, you remember the Americans have done this on many occasions. If you remember My Lai, which of course was during the Vietnam War, where they went out to slaughter a whole host of villagers, and of course we've got. Shall we say, the Israelis have got past form for this, massive past form for this. And of course, this is from My Lai. So look away now if you don't want to see this. But that was a photo taken from My Lai, which of course, as they say, and in the Vietnam War, and they've never really stopped targeting children. But we can tell you that they've targeted four sets there, which is absolutely terrible. Not good at all. And we've got something else that we have to tell you as well. Does anybody recognize who this gentleman is? Anyone at all?
Baron Trump.
Jr.
Well done. Well done.
Baron Trump.
Baron Trump Jr. or Baron Trump or Trump Jr. Baron. Well done. Excellent. So let's give you a little insight into what happened with Baron. Baron Trump bought $50 million worth of oil positions. 2 days later, his father started a war with Iran. Oil prices skyrocketed. He bought before the bombs dropped. He bought before Iran closed the Straits of Hormuz. He bought before 20% of the world's oil supply got choked. And he bought before crude spiked to levels not seen since 2008. So day one, Baron loads 30 million into oil, complete silence. On day two, and the United States begins bombing. The president's son made a 30 million bet on oil, 48 hours, as I say, before they went through the roof. Now, this is not a pattern. Questions in Congress that nobody is asking is who told Barron? Did he know the strikes were coming? Is this insider trading on a war like Nancy Pelosi does? Why has no investigation been open to this? Would any other citizen get away with this? And also, some of his friends are also made $20 million off of this. The president of the United States family is making money off a war that is killing American soldiers and Iranian children. 5 servicemen that they are admitting to, Deb. We know it's a lot more than that. Oil executives celebrating, and a 20-year-old just turned a 30 million into a fortune because father started a war. That doesn't make your blood boil. I really don't know what will. So just to let you know that this is confirmed we've got 3 independent sources, and on the Aquatiri flights and the targeting by the US, we have 4 independent sources. So it's complete. We've got 1 in the Pentagon, 1 right there, and we've got an Iranian source that's telling us, of course, the death toll and everything else, and we've got a Whitehall source. So this is absolutely, we have no problem putting this out there and telling everybody this is exactly what's happened and exactly what's been going on. And of course, many people are coming out and saying this is nonsense. I thought this might interest everyone. This is airstrikes that have been literally put forward by American presidents. Have a little look at this. So there you go. There's the Afghanistan who authorized the strikes. There's Iran. There's Iraq. There's Libya. There's Nigeria. There's Pakistan, Somalia, Syria, Venezuela, and Yemen. Notice a regular pattern there when you look through. Every single one of these strikes featured Donald Trump. For all those people, and I did sort of get into it with a woman who was on my Telegram page, who's turning around and saying, trust the plan, Q is fantastic, look after us and all the rest. So it's quite incredible that they would do that. Here we go. Let's get into this now. We've got a load of tankers up in the air, getting ready for the next wave of attacks that are coming through. And these next wave of attacks are going to be quite, should we say, hefty. And the idea is to totally bomb them into submission. We're going to go through some of the videos now, because you've probably had enough. This is UK gas pumps, by the way. There we are. That's just UK gas pipe, UK lines now with people queuing up left, right, and centre. I hope you went to the pumps. I hope you were bright enough to do that. I think you are. I know you are. Let's have a little look at this. This is Tel Aviv.
So that's not the one we donated because it's big.
Okay, so they are literally locking up anybody who is showing any strikes whatsoever from Tel Aviv. You can get up to 5 years if you show a base being hit. Nilis.
Yeah, I've just come off watching George Galloway, and he says a tactical nuclear bomber has left England and is on its way to Iran. To
B1s, yeah, they are. Yeah, yes. If you've missed it, you've missed a rollicking show so far. Let's and we'll get on to that in a minute. Remember, we told you, I'll put on my Twitter account. Look out for false flags. They're going to start them in the US Embassy. I warned of this 2 or 3 days ago. Look what's happened. We've suddenly had a US Embassy attack in Norway, and of course. We did warn absolutely everybody that was coming, and they were getting ready to do false flags on embassies around the world, and that's exactly what they've started doing. So just to give you a heads up on that, here's your favorite person.
And we're going to win.
All
Israel
right,
and the United States, you just wait to see what comes in the next 2 weeks.
The next 2 weeks meaning what?
We're going to blow the hell out of these people. This regime is in a death row now. It is going to be on its knees. It's going to fall. And when it falls, we're going to have peace like no other time. We're going to have prosperity unlike anyone could ever imagine. Peace brings prosperity. You can't do it by talking. The Democrats criticize this operation. They didn't do a damn thing. These men and women in the military.
This is just one of the nutters who is infecting, of course, the White House and needs removing. How this guy has got anywhere near, God knows. Of course, they bombed the hell out of Tehran, including setting fire to the oil storage units. And then, of course, this happened to the gas pipeline, I should say, in Tehran. That was under street level gas pipeline, of course, that went up in smoke. And of course, you're going to get that more and more, I should say. American bodies starting to come back home.
President Trump and the First Lady joined grieving families at Dover Air Force Base yesterday to honor 6 fallen U.S. soldiers. These heroes lost their lives in a drone strike in Kuwait, marking a somber moment in the conflict with Iran. Here with the significance of the moment, wounded special.
There we go. There is more and more of these starting, shall we say, to make a terrible, terrible thing that is going on at the moment, because they are literally coming home. Quite a few of them, but there are a few of them that are being brought home that are CIA, and they are, of course, mercenary soldiers, and they're coming home on separate flights. Isn't that strange? And of course, many people are turning around and saying, well, why is that happening? Well, they don't want you to know exactly what's going on, and it is something that they're going to try and hide if they can. Let's get into a little bit of this, because, of course, many people are starting to say, what's happening here? Well, Abu Dhabi, for instance, have a look at this. Now, Abu Dhabi are saying that they, of course, have nothing to do with this or whatever, but they are putting up CIA people actually in their areas. So these people are certainly, how can I put this as nicely as possible? They're getting targeted. And of course, the CIA, this gentleman from the CIA was actually in his car when he was targeted. See it burning. This is in Dubai, by the way. Just in case you're wondering, Dubai, they did apologize to the Arab states, but not in the way that Trump says. They apologized to the Arab states to say, look, we're sorry we're hitting areas that are in your area, that are in your place. And of course, here's Arachi saying exactly that.
Mr. Foreign Minister, if you're not attacking your neighbors, why did the Iranian president apologize?
Well, first of all, apology in our culture is a sign of dignity and strength. Secondly, he apologized from the peoples of the region for the inconveniences they have faced because of this aggression by the United States and retaliation by us. So as a matter of fact, it is in fact the President of the United States who should apologize from the people of the region and Iranian people for the killings and destructions they have done against us.
So very simply, what he did was apologize for hitting them in their area, but if you've got a base there. Now, I can tell you that the Russians, we have spoken to Peskov, and on Tuesday, we're going to have a massive thing. It's going to be literally all on the Ukraine war on Tuesday, because we have neglected it a fair bit, and there's a bit to catch up on here. Now, very simply, what we've got with this is the Russians have been talking to the Saudis. The Saudis phoned the Russians first. And of course, Iran are giving an olive branch and saying and of course, it's not going to happen because the Saudi Arabians, they were part of this and they want to overthrow Iran. They're so far in America's pocket and Israel's pocket, it's unreal. And of course, they took part in funding the original riots, of course, that were meant to overthrow the Iranian government. But the rest of the states are, and America are starting to panic about this and saying, look, we're going to level you and all the rest of it, because America cannot have Iran making friends with the rest of the Arab world, or the Russians having that much of a foothold in there. And of course, the Russians are advising Iran on what to say and do. And of course, they come out and said, look, we're not going to bomb you if we can help it. But if you allow launches of American planes and everything else to come into our airspace and keep bombing us, then we're going to hit those areas that they're coming from. Here's a radar station in Kuwait that's taken out today.
No, they missed it again. They hit the base of it. They knocked the lights out on that motherfucker.
That was a video taken by the US military. Andy?
Yeah, all these bases, American bases, which have been blown up and whatever. Do you think the Middle East will just say, no, you're not coming back? You're not rebuilding?
It's highly likely, to be honest, because what they've clearly shown, here's where we have a problem, I think, Andy, is they've clearly been shown that they cannot protect their bases in the Middle East. Okay? If there's a war, the Middle East is getting hit. They have shown quite clearly they can't keep the Straits of Hormuz open so far. They haven't achieved the overthrow of the government like they said they would, even though they're carpet bombing the hell out of civilians. These people are not getting stuck in at all. That is 7 radars out of the 12 that they have in the area out of commission now, Louis. And of course, they're being very smart about it because they're turning around and they're going, okay, we're not going to keep whacking everybody and trying to chase shadows and everything else. We know where your radar installations are. If we smash them because they're not mobile, then there's less time and less warning for Israel. And Israel are saying, well, we're not getting hit. They are getting pounded. Make no bones about it. And they are firing off rockets like it's the 4th of July. Andy?
Do you reckon Iran will go after Israel's nuclear facilities?
Eventually, if it keeps
pull them out of
escalating.
action.
Yeah, because the B-1s, the B-1 bombers, which are the ones that Nilis was talking about, they have arrived in Fairford. Okay, they've already come in Fairford. Graham's keeping an eye on that for us, so we'll keep an eye on tracking them and where they are. And of course, those bombers, as I say, are in Fairford. Fairly common knowledge. Let's have a listen to Alistair Crook on this.
Destroying itself because of what I keep saying to people, that you cannot understand Israel through a secular, if you like, a secular rationalist lens. You have to understand it through the lens of an eschatological or even a messianic sentiment, because that is what is driving the right. I remember seeing a video of Smotrich some years ago, and he was saying, well, we're going to get, we're taking back Gaza and we're taking back the West Bank, etc., etc. And he said, but you know what? What we need is we need a huge crisis or a big war, and then we'll complete our project. In other words, you can't say, oh, look, it's silly. I mean, why would Netanyahu want to, to launch this war against Iran? Because they welcome Armageddon, many of them on the far right. It's not because they've got a strategic calculus about it. They believe that this is, is as foretold, and this is the way it is going to be, and it's going to take us to redemption. And this is if you like, the Messiah will come, everything will change. And this is why I think it was so astonishing for me to hear almost the same sort of language being laid out in the general orders that were handed out to commanders from the Hexeth, if you like, side of the United States, and not I think, a common view, but within a certain sort of fragment of society, it was still powerful. So I think it's going to be long war. The Iranians are not about to surrender. Why should they? They are in the driving seat. It's for America to lose this war, not Iran wins it by surviving, and it wins it because of, if you like, the symbolic position of having defeated a mythical army that was invulnerable, that couldn't ever be attacked or defeated. So I think it will.
So there we are. And of course, he's absolutely right. There's many people out there who still don't believe that these people are in the White House. They are. And you've had it. Now, there is something else that we can link as well. We can link 3 people in that room to Chabad Lubavitch, and we can also link them to the Rothschilds, of course, Jacob Rothschild, who was very, very good friends with Epstein. And of course, this is a picture, this is a mocked up picture, but it just gives you the link between literally this Messianic sect, as Alistair Crook has called it there. And of course, this was in the White House, leading prayers for this, literally for this sect. And of course, many, many people saying, oh, what are they doing there? I'm going to play about 30 seconds of this because I played it before. And I know that people get very annoyed with this woman. This is Trump's spiritual advisor.
Strike and 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 strike until you have victory. For every enemy that is aligned against you, let there be that we would strike the ground, for you will give us victory, God. I hear a sound of abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of shout.
Now, I'm not going to play any more of that because, of course, she is quite off the planet, as they say, or has gone off the reservation. But they haven't gone off the reservation. This is the thing. These are what these people believe, and they're going to keep going. They're not going to stop. They genuinely are not going to stop. So please don't for 1 second think that these people are just crazy and it's going to be perfectly okay. Here's Leave It, Losing It.
Past year. Now, with respect to what's happening with gas prices right now, this is a short-term disruption for the long-term gain of taking out the rogue Iranian terrorist regime and finally ending their restriction of the free flow of energy in the Middle East and in the Strait of Hormuz.
There you go. It's about the oil. They're going to get hold of Iran's oil. That's what they want to do. And anybody thinking it's a different game, they want to stop this trade route. They want to destroy BRICS. And they want to get hold of the resources. It's as straightforward as you can possibly imagine. But still people are going, oh no, it's Iran. They've got a terrible regime. Excuse me, the terrible regime. Mark Onza.
Warren, I don't mean to go off subject, but while all this attention's on Iran, I think it's time China took back Taiwan, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if I was China, I'd wait till the 3rd carrier arrives and fires its missiles, because they're getting low on missiles, Mark. That's why they've called the George Bush into, obviously, to come into the area. Of course, we have multiple ships that have gone in there. The carrier group from Gerald R. Ford passed through the Suez Canal yesterday. And of course, that's getting into position. But of course, they have called up and yet another, as I say, they've called up another carrier, so that's going to be sailing off into the bright blue yonder, Mark. So there we go. That's the George W. Bush that's on the way there. Hopefully that answers that question. But you're right, Mark. I'd wait until they expend all the missiles, then I'd march in. I really would. Lee Williams and Nillis.
I was just going to say, has the main ship that went over there, where they're doing the poo outside the aircraft, outside the ship, is that actually been moving away at the moment because they're frightened they're going to get hit?
The Abraham Lincoln has moved away. The Gerald R. Ford is sailing in. But we have there's giving it the general idea that the Gerald R. Ford is going to go home because the sailors haven't been home for a long, long time. And of course, or 2 months more than they should do. And of course, the whole idea is that the George Bush will take over from it. That's the narrative. In truth, they're running out of missiles. They've fired over 3,000 missiles already. 3,500, sorry. 3,500 missiles they've fired already. These things don't grow on trees. They take a long time for the Americans to build. It's not like the Russians where they can do this and that. Nicholas.
Yeah, I heard today that all Venezuelan oil is sold through an American company, which has a overseas bank account, which is controlled by Donald Trump. Yeah, and it's also interesting that the Peace Board has Donald Trump as chairman for life. He's chairman for life on it. So yeah, he's sort of like feathering his nest all the way through this.
Yes. When it came to the Peace Board, first of all, we told you who was going to be on it, how terrible they were going to be, what it was really going to be used for, and that's exactly what has happened. There is another thing that is very, very troubling, Nicholas. We didn't know anything about it here, of course. When we turned around and said that, you know, we showed the actual hotel where they were having meetings with the Rodriguez, and they've prepared charges against the Rodriguezes now, just in case they have an attack of conscience and stop dealing with the USA. So they've actually prepared charges against the Rodriguezes just in case they change their minds and do a 180. But they are bought and paid for, and we said that they would be. And now, of course, you can see full well that she's doing exactly. They're both doing exactly what America wanted to do, and now they've prepared fake Trump, if you like, trumped up charges, ready to go and do this. So yeah, it is quite staggering. Stephen Kuhn, yeah, go on.
Just as a matter of interest, I heard it costs just to keep those American each aircraft carrier afloat. It costs $6.5 million a day.
It does. Yeah, 6.85 to be precise, Nicholas.
All right. Well, sorry, I've got it.
There you go. Just there's a bit of absolutely stupid knowledge for you, but there it is. Stephen Kuhn, who we tried to get on this show, Stephen Eugene Kuhn, said 2 torpedoes. The USS Ford just took 2 torpedoes for an Iranian Russian-made Kilo class submarine. Minimal damage, 0 casualties. One of our Los Angeles class subs put it at the bottom of the Gulf. That makes 142 Iranian ships and sub-sunk. You're talking absolute bollocks. Completely not true. Completely not true. We did try to get him on this show, but he wouldn't come on. And now you know why. This is, of course, he's an absolute, shall we say, dyed in the wool Trumpite. And of course, that is utterly not true. And I do challenge publicly. You want to come on and show me proof of that, then of course we'll have a chat about it. Now let's talk about some returning dead bodies. Sawfully Davis, he's a police officer. Look at that, the 79th precinct. What is NYPD news? Now what is Sawfully Davis doing out in, of course, Kuwait? Well, he's an officer in the 42nd Infantry Division in the US Army National Guard. Now, just have a listen to that, because, of course, many of these people, some of them have been National Guard, some of them have been part-time. So how about this? They put them up in the hotels, okay, and then they get somebody to hit them because they're not serious troops. They're National Guard and they're police officers. So they get somebody to hit them, and then, of course, they can turn around and go, oh, look at that. Look at that Dubai, look at that Oman, look at that Bahrain. They're doing this. They're killing people in your hotels, but they're not killing people of any significance. He was meant to be on the airbase in Kuwait. He wasn't on the airbase in Kuwait. Let's have a look at this one. Of course, this is the grapevine in edit. We've learned that US Marine Corporal Lance Corporal Kevin Melendez a 2024 graduate of Grapevine High School, has died while serving his country. The military say he passed away earlier this week in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, in a non-hostile incident. On March the 4th, Marines carried his transfer case during a dignified transfer at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. We've posted a picture of that from the Air Force. It was a solemn moment honouring the young man who gave his life in service to our nation. Well, he died in a non-military accident. Well, I'm sorry, Dover Air Force Base in Delaware received 5 other bodies on the same time. And no doubt they'd all not been killed in military action. And of course, we know where all 6 of them actually came from, because we showed you the hotel getting blown up. And of course, this is just going to keep going. This is Tehran. Have a look at this. This is daytime, by the way. That is in the middle of the day when it's meant to be hot and sunny. And of course, there are sulfur dioxide and and of course, nitrogen clouds and all sorts of horrible things that are floating over there at the moment. Now, the Iranian tensions are cracked a little bit in Wall Street favorite piggy bank, and that includes BlackRock. It turns out the world's largest asset manager can't actually give everyone their money back at once. BlackRock have slapped a 5% withdrawal limit on its massive 26 billion private credit fund after investors tried to pull out a jaw-dropping 1.2 billion. The result, they only got about half of that, leaving the rest stuck inside, presumably refreshing the inboxes and stretching out. But BlackRock wasn't the only one sweating. Over at Blackstone, things got so dicey they had to raise their own withdrawal cap and inject 400 million of their personal piggy bank money just to stay afloat after a record 8% of investors demanded to bounce with their money. Meanwhile, Blue Owl ran out of ideas and cash entirely and was handing out IOUs instead of actual dollars. See where this goes? The entire sector went into cardiac arrest on the same day, with heavyweights like Carlyle, KKR, Apollo and Ares all tumbling 5 to 6%. So what spooked the horses? Well, the Middle East escalation, obviously. The tensions are pushing oil prices higher, which keeps interest rates painfully elevated. That makes it a whole lot harder for the companies carrying these loans to actually pay them back. On top of that, the conflict has spooked investors, triggering a simultaneous rush for the exit door. So, of course, this is only going to get worse and worse and worse. Somebody put their hand up there.
Yeah,
no.
A quick one.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Yeah, a quick one. Is it anything to do with a film called Minority Report with the BlackRock and the Blackstone? Sorry.
You never know. You never know. Nilus.
Yeah, I think Carlyle deals in armaments as well, doesn't it? So I wonder why its shares are going. Carlyle deals in armaments.
Yes.
It's weapons man. I wonder why its shares are going down.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it? Does sound a bit crazy.
I only know that Carlyle is a weapons manufacturer because they gave John Major a directorship after he retired from being a prime minister.
They did, bless them. Isn't that nice of them? Sure, he didn't do anything. Sure, he didn't do anything to deserve it.
Probably bought some weapons off them when he was prime minister.
Yes. Louis Bastos and then Robert.
I wonder how long it's going to take before Europe starts importing oil gas from Russia.
Won't be long, will it? Let's be honest. It's not going to be long the way it's going. Not going to be long. Great shout. Robert.
Carlyle Group is the Bush family empire.
It is.
And also Cheney is very much involved, or was involved with it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And of course, you're just going to see, this is only, Robert, you're the accountant. When this sort of thing starts happening, once the panic sets in and once the spook goes in, it's not good, is it?
Well, you buy while the enemy is at the gate, and you well, nobody knows what to do afterwards when the gate gets.
when the gate gets shut.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm too old for this sort of thing.
yeah, exactly that. Let's have a little look at this. This is Bahrain. Have a look. This is today. Now that is a hotel, once again, housing American troops. Gonna learn. You are going to learn that if you house American troops in your hotels, there's every chance you're going to get blown up. Nicholas.
Yeah, I've also heard a large proportion of the Bahraini royal family have fled over the causeway to Saudi Arabia for protection because they're expecting an Islamic uprising there in Bahrain as well.
Yes, yeah, absolutely right. And it could well keep them. You know, there could be more and more exoduses. Here we go. Let's have a look. Here's prices in Dubai. They're going through the floor. Dubai are not happy. Saudi Arabia are not happy. Housing prices and everything else are plummeting through the floor. So this is having a massive impact on the stock exchange and, of course, the price of everything. Everything. People do not want it. Something else we got to tell you as well. Remember, we told you that US special forces have been killed. We're not sure how many, as I said, but there were 30 went across from Turkmenistan. Well, guess what? Some more are being flown out. And of course, this is on should we say, it's not a military jet, but some more are being flown out. This is the plane they use when they need to, should we say, fly any of their special forces anywhere. They tend to use the N768, which is registered to, of course, and basically it is the American Special Forces plane. So they're taking more people out, and of course there will be, should we say, some bits and pieces coming off of that. There is a panic going on because they've actually called Condoleezza Rice in, would you believe, to advise them. This is how completely and totally unhinged this whole thing is. It's an utter mess. Okay. The fact that they're calling in Condoleezza Rice to advise on this tells you everything, or should tell you everything that you need to know. The fact that she's there, and of course, yes, she is. As Andy FX says in the chat, she's a proven liar and proven to do all sorts of things. There are some more proven liars, just to lighten the mood a little. This lady here, the women in Carabella are waiting for US Army men. Well, I don't think they are, my dear, because you're actually in India. Yeah, this is a woman who decided that she would do good. I'll go online and I'll pose. She's got a lot of followers. Turns out she's actually a woman. She's actually a woman in India. And of course, they're trying everything they can to try and sell this to the American public and, of course, the soldiers. Just to let you know as well that for a second time, you remember Suleimania, we spoke about that, where they were trying to get the uprising going and they had literally they got bombed so that they couldn't go across the border to start that line. Well, they've hit another hotel with more CIA operatives in. They just don't learn, do they? The first time they got hit and got rid of the people who were planning this incursion, well, from what we understand, there are at least 16 dead, and that includes paramilitary company people as well. So just to let you know that that has actually gone and happened. Once again, this is the second time that the Americans have lost people in, should we say, putting them up in hotels, getting ready in that area to go across the border. And of course, when we were talking about Iran apologizing and saying what a terrible thing, Iran have only said that to the people. This is the reason why why Saudi Arabia continues to be hit. Because, of course, Saudi Arabia, as we told you they would, and always have done, have let America literally do their bombing raids from Saudi Arabia. They go a roundabout way about it, but they're letting America still use their airfields to launch strikes into Iran. So, of course, they're getting bombed. What did they expect? It is amazing that we're getting all of this. It's like this nonsense here. Have a look at this. Now, the people who are supporting this war against Iran, namely Israel fans and USA fans, are having a meltdown because the Russians are supplying them, and the Russians are supplying them. Russia will turn around and say, no, we're not giving them any real help, but they are. It's as simple as that. But for the last 5 years, USA have been giving Ukraine targeting instructions and targeting help to kill Russians in Russia. Where's your problem? Where's your problem? Honestly, we can do it because we're the USA, but nobody else can. Shut the hell up. Quite incredible. And of course, some of that targeting was right here. Once again, that's Erbil Air Base. The launch pad literally is literally about the simple fact that they're going to keep launching at these places because this is the area that they're using as a launch pad, these areas using as a launch pad to try and go across the border into Iran. So that's another one that yet again has been hit. And you know that Erbil has been taking part of that. And they've got plenty of drones to go around. And there's shipments, as we've shown this we showed this on Saturday, but we show it.
收起假期的慵懒，带着家人的叮嘱，保持热爱，奔赴下一场山海。脚踏实地，全力以赴。愿2026策马扬鞭，不负韶华。所有的努力都能掷地有声，所有的付出都能换来对等的回报。口袋有钱，心中有光，家人安康，万事顺利。喧嚣归于平静，生活重归正轨。收起假期的慵懒，带着家人的叮嘱，保持热爱，奔赴下一场山海。脚踏实地，全力以赴。愿2026策马扬鞭，不负韶华。所有的努力都能掷地有声，所有的付出都能换来对等的回报。口袋有钱，心中有光，家人安康，万。
There we are. So that gives you a heads up of some of the drones that will be heading to them, and they've got absolutely loads of them. And of course, Iran have got an abundance of them, but China are going to be sending, and indeed, from what I understand, have already sent some of those out. Here's the US Embassy in Baghdad on fire. And of course, going, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. It has. It's been struck by forces inside of Iraq. So, of course, they're going to be going, no, can't possibly happen. Have a listen to this liar here. We've got two examples of this, Lemon.
More than 170 people, including many children, were killed in a strike on a school in southern Iran last weekend. On Saturday, President Trump said he thinks Iran was behind the bombing. But NBC News and others are reporting that the military's preliminary finding is that it's increasingly likely that a U.S. munition was responsible. Was Iran or the United States responsible? And will the U.S. provide evidence to the American people?
Okay, so look, a couple of things here. One, well, let's let the investigation play out. Number two, again, as a veteran and special operator, we never deliberately attack civilians. If civilians were injured, it's always by accident. Contrast that. I mean, this is really rich coming from the Iranians.
So there's Mike Waltz turning around and saying, let's let the investigation play out. And of course, they already know. And of course, he just literally lies through his teeth. Here he is again.
Mr. Waltz, I have to ask you about this reporting on Friday that Russia is sharing intelligence with Iran to help target U.S. assets in the region. Will there be consequences for Russia?
Well, as Special Envoy Witkoff said last night on Air Force One, he sent a very strong message to Russia. I have no doubt President Trump will deal with it accordingly.
Will there be
if this is
consequences,
happening,
though,
and I
more
don't want
than
to get
words,
into it. I
more
don't
than
want to get
strong
into.
words?
I don't want to get into intelligence, but I'll tell you what: Russia right now has just lost its main supplier of these one-way drones that they have been sending in night after night into Ukraine. They just lost their main supplier of ballistic missiles.
Somebody going to tell him, please, somebody tell him, Garan drones are made inside of Russia. You complete and utter clown. They very, very seldom use Shahed drones. They started using them at the start of the war, but they haven't used them, and are certainly not using them for a long time. And while we're talking about the investigation playing out, let's be absolutely clear here for you, Mike, because we wouldn't want it. That's a Tomahawk, okay? It's one of yours that hit the school, all right? There we go. We'll blow it up even closer for you. And that is your weapons that hit that school. So never mind about the investigation playing out. We've just solved the riddle for you.
Noble Gold. Real assets. Real value.